Sportz Blitz Live is on the air. News, scores, predictions. Sportz Blitz Live with your host, Brett Pritchard, Luke Robinson, and Randy Lee. Call 800-782-0108. Auburn.
45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back.
Alabama.
38 pounds and 80 yards.
And the latest in high school sports.
Yes, he is. Touchdown.
It's Sportz Blitz Live now. Brought to you by S&S Discount Tire and JR's Sports Bar and Grill.
Welcome in, everyone, on this Tuesday evening to Sportz Blitz Live. I am Andy Graham alongside Luke Robinson. We'll be with you until 9 o'clock this evening, taking your phone calls at 256-234-6221, talking about everything going on in the world of sports. Of course, it is game week for college football. There were some games last week, the likes of Stanford versus Rice or BYU versus Portland State, but the big boys are about to get underway. We're all excited about that. Of course, we'll talk about Alabama and Florida State. We've got a guest from Knowles247.com to join us, Bob. I'm going to say Ferrente. We'll try to.
I'll roll with that.
We'll try to confirm that before we get him on. He's going to be with us about 7:30. And then we got the voice of the Georgia Southern Eagles, Mr. Danny Reed, rising star in the broadcasting world.
I'll take your word for that.
But we're looking forward to that, break down that game a little bit as well. We'll talk about some of the high school games that went on this past Friday night. We'll look forward to the upcoming week as Dadeville and Reeltown will get that old classic will be played on Thursday night. Benjamin Russell opens up with Clay Central. Dadeville, like I said, is taking on Reeltown. Coosa Central they'll travel to the Fayetteville Wolves. Horseshoe Bend traveling on the road to Donahoe Falcons. Should be maybe the Thundercats.
Donahoe Thundercats?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be pretty cool. Anyway, I don't think they're going to take my word for it. But again, we'll talk about anything that you'd like to talk about. But we'll talk about a little high school football in the first couple of segments. You were on the scoreboard show Friday night. That is a great thing. I watched a lot of that. You and JJ did a great job. Just talk a little bit about, some of the games that, piqued your interest, that came across scores maybe that surprised you, scores that you thought, man, this is about right.
Well, I would say I think you always start at the top, and you start with Hoover. They lose to Grayson, Georgia. And look, Hoover is still the cream of the crop. Whenever you talk about high school football in the state of Alabama, I think you start with Hoover and work your way down. However, the fact that they seem to be losing a lot of these out-of-state, big-time matchups. And Grayson, Georgia is very good, don't get me wrong. They have a kid named, I believe it's Owen Papo. I'm not sure if that's exactly how you say his last name, but he's probably the top linebacker prospect for 2019, being looked at by just about everybody in the country. Very strong player. They've got some other good players. Grayson's got a history of good players. But still, if memory serves, Hoover wasn't ever in the lead in that game. Grayson jumped on them a little bit early, and they're just, again, I want Hoover. Hoover, by default, represents this state. Mm-hmm. They are football in Alabama, and that's a very positive thing, and they should be very proud of it. They have earned that moniker. At the same time, when they play teams from out of state, I'm really pulling for them to win. Generally, when Hoover plays anybody else, I try to be non-biased. If anybody plays somebody out of state from the state of Alabama, I'm going to pull for them. But anyway, I think their loss, it doesn't necessarily mean the state is down. I've said over and over and over again, I think the state of Alabama is going to be much stronger this year because the quarterback play. Tua Tagovailoa's brother, I think it's Talia Tagovailoa. I'm not 100% sure, but he's a quarterback for Thompson. And he led his team to a big comeback. They were down 17-0 from another team from out of state, and they end up winning that game 21-20. James Foster from Sidney Lanier, he had a big game. He is a commitment to the Missouri Tigers. Bo Nix, I got to see him play Pinson Valley. My goodness, he looked really good. They played McAdory. He was throwing it all over the place. Then we saw Saraland and Jack West. They're quarterbacked by Jack West, of course, who is committed to Stanford. He looked pretty good. He wasn't probably didn't have his best game, but he still looked pretty good. And the other team was quarterbacked by Emory Jones, who is committed to Ohio State, but still looking at Alabama, a team from Georgia. Auburn, they look pretty good. Opelika, 51-0. Oh my gosh! I mean, I'm telling you, 6A top to bottom is going to be so much fun to watch this year. I think there are going to be about 4 or 5 teams maybe that can win it in 7A. Central Phoenix City is going to be very strong. They've got a good quarterback as well, and then they got Justin Ross, who's the best player in the state of Alabama probably. Obviously, they've got Hoover is going to be in there, and Hewitt-Trussville, who hopefully Randy Lee will call in and talk about here in just a minute. They played in the Champions Challenge in the second game, and they've got 4 guys. Pierce Quick, who's committed to Alabama, 2019 offensive lineman. Miles Mason, who is a defensive back for this class. He's being looked at by a lot of folks. Paul Tyson, the quarterback, he had a big game. He was just throwing darts last Friday night. The game didn't count, but he still looked great against Pell City. And then Daslin Worsham, who is the top player in the state of Alabama for 2020 as a wide receiver, and he looked very good as well. So I think that Hewitt-Trussville team is going to be a force to be reckoned with. There's no doubt about that. Madison Academy lost in big-time fashion to a team from Chattanooga. I thought that was an eye-opener. That may have been one of the bigger surprises of the night. But overall, I was just really pleased. High school football is back. I'm going to say this, and I hope that somebody will listen at the AHSA. I'm hoping we go to 11-game schedule. I don't dig the jamborees quite as much. I understand, maybe coaches don't want them.
Are you talking about 11 and 12 weeks or just
I'm talking about
11 weeks season?
I'm talking about either 11 and 12 weeks or 11 straight games. I'm fine either way. If you want to put a bye week in there for players, I'm cool with that. But I think that the jamboree, especially those that end up being like in the middle of the season or third or fourth game or whatever, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No. They have jamborees in the middle of the season?
You can have a jamboree, you can play that other game or take a bye week. So, I don't know.
Who doesn't want to have a jamboree? It sounds like a lot of
jamborees,
fun.
they're awesome. You remember the thing at Disney? They're awesome. No, I disagree. They're not quite as much fun. Because see, the thing about it is, you look at the Pell City game last week against Hewitt-Trussville, and as good as they looked, it didn't count. So you always have to have an asterisk by that. And I feel like it takes a little bit away from their performance. Having said that, I think it was a great opening week. I'm excited about these games coming up, too. They're going to be some really fun ones. You mentioned Dadeville and Reeltown. That's always a good game. I think Auburn and Opelika play this week, do they not?
I do not know. I need to look that up.
Look, every week there's always a game that I go, wow. Some prospects that did well.
Did you watch the Joey Gatewood versus Trevor Lawrence
I did.
matchup?
And look, I think Joey Gatewood's a good prospect, and he's bigger than I thought he was. He looked big in the past.
So he's like 230.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to end up being quarterback for Auburn.
Really?
He can throw it.
Certainly not a Justin Fields.
He's not a bad quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. I just think athletically he's going to be more valuable somewhere else. I think he's going to be more valuable somewhere else than he is as a quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is going to play quarterback in the pros. That guy is ridiculous.
He was throwing bullets.
He looked like an NFL caliber quarterback right now. He's cool, he's calm, he's composed. Composed, I should say, not composed. I don't know why in the world. He's poised and composed. He's poised and composed.
I think that's a great word.
I do like that. I might have to put that one in there. That's the Urban Dictionary. But I think Trevor Lawrence, he's a Clemson commit. Clemson's going to give people fits, man. I'm telling you, everybody loves to. I keep hearing about how Clemson's lost so much, and they did. They lost Deshaun Watson, they lost Wayne Gallman. I'm just telling you, Clemson's going to be strong this year. And I know Auburn fans think they can go up there, and this is their year to take them. And Auburn may very well beat them. But Clemson ain't bad. And for those who think they're overrated, I do not think they're overrated in the least. They're in reload mode. So, and Trevor Lawrence, then when he comes in, whoever they've got now, they got Hunter Johnson now, who's number one quarterback last year. I think you better look out. And then they've got this other quarterback who's starting, I forget his name. He wins in a bit of an upset, even though he played some last year. Trevor Lawrence is going to come in and play. Wherever he goes, he's going to come in and play. He looked incredible. I did watch some of Justin Fields' highlights. I watched him, John Garcia, put some highlights out there of his game, and he looked really good too. And he was going up against 3 SEC caliber defensive linemen for Rome, Georgia. I think Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in this class. I mean, what I saw was pretty doggone good. I thought Emory Jones looked okay for the team that he played for against Saraland, but he and Jack West both, I feel like they are a notch maybe below Fields, and then Trevor Lawrence is just a tick above everybody. That's the way I thought. And then I would put Joey Gatewood in there with the Jack West kind of thing, except I like what Joey Gatewood could bring to you at another position. Like, I don't know.
Tight end? Or on defense?
Big, small tight end, big receiver kind of thing. You know, I keep hearing about Sal Cannella. Everybody loves talking about Sal Cannella for Auburn right now. I mean, I don't know much about Sal Cannella.
Nobody
does. But I'm going to tell you, I would take Joey Gatewood over Sal Cannella right now. And I would say y'all can play the same position. He sounds like what everybody thinks Sal Cannella is going to be, is what it seems like to me.
Well, that's putting a lot on Sal.
Because I was impressed with Gatewood. He was so much bigger than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe his teammates are small, but he looked bigger than everybody, right?
Well, 6'5", 230, that's a big guy for high school.
He looked a lot bigger than everybody. I mean,
he's got room to improve too, I think.
I don't think there's any doubt. But it was a fun game to watch. That high school game was fun to watch, and I'm glad ESPN is doing these. I do think maybe we've gone a little overboard. There is something to be said about some mystery of some of this. I don't like how many high school games are televised now, because it seems like we're putting too much pressure on the kids. I would rather some of this be, you got to go out there and check out the high school games, because I'm feeling like we can get saturated with it. But that was a game that I was glad was on TV.
We're up against our first break here, but just getting started on this edition of Sportz Blitz Live. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime at the all-new Opelika Ford and Opelika Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Every new and pre-owned vehicle, just $1 down. Plus credit amnesty. Bring home $350 a week, get up to $30,000 in credit.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
10 acres, 1,000 vehicles, just $1 down.
Folks, you've just got to see this place.
The all-new Opelika Ford and Opelika Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Call 800-NEXT-RIDE.
Find everything you need for the perfect outdoor living space at Russell Do-It Center, like the Fire Rock Outdoor Conventional Fireplace. Smartly designed masonry systems that are easy to install and are less than half the cost of a scratch-built brick and mortar fireplace. Weber Grills, the best outdoor gas, electric, and charcoal grills, which always come pre-assembled. Yeti Coolers, premium coolers and accessories that are the ultimate in design, performance, and durability. Russell Do-It Center, experience and knowledge from the pros.
Ready to put some fun in your life? Whether it's Central or East Alabama, North Alabama, West Georgia, or wherever you're from, Fun Carts of Opelika is your authorized easy-go cart dealer that has no limits on a perfect easy-go cart. Whether it's a fully customized cart or a stock-made cart, we'll deliver it on time and at the best price. Fun Carts gives you the service after the sale, so no matter if it's hunting, tailgating, motorhoming, fleet rental, or just a better way to get around, Fun Carts of Opelika has it and will customize it to your needs. Visit us in Opelika or call us or visit online for the best easy-go carts. Put a little fun in your life with Fun Carts of Opelika.
If you're seeing the American cockroach, throw up the red flag. Ladybugs, throw up the red flag. Ants and swarming termites, throw up the red flag. And kudzu bugs, throw up the red flag. That's Red Flag Pest Control. So the caution is on. Call Red Flag Pest Control today.
I'm Scott Davis with Red Flag Pest Control, celebrating our 10th anniversary. Call me today, 256-825-0430.
Hi, this is Quinn Harrelson with Interlink Mortgage in Auburn, Alabama. There are 1,000 different questions people ask me every day about mortgage loans. They ask about buying investment homes, primary homes, and even second homes at the lake or the beach. I only have a limited time to say, call me and let's talk about what you want and how I can help you get it. Again, win with Quinn and call me today at 256-675-6259 so I can help structure a mortgage that best fits you and your family's needs.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Bice Motors in Alexander City. Brian and his crew offer the latest lines of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram vehicles, as well as the best used inventory around. Guaranteed lowest price. Bice.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sportz Blitz Live. Again, Andy and Luke here with you until 9 o'clock, talking a little bit about high school football as it gets underway in total, I guess, this weekend. A lot of jamborees last Friday. Some games counted, some games didn't. But I guess they'll all start counting this week. Pretty much everybody is going to be playing. So you were talking about, or we were talking during the break about a lot of guys, some of the guys that are making the most noise, some of the most heavily sought after prospects in the state of Alabama. You got to, we'll see some of these guys up close and personal, probably, as you mentioned, Randy. Them saw some of those at Hewitt-Trussville last week, but you talk about some of the guys that are exciting you.
Well, I think Justin Ross is unanimously the number one prospect in the state of Alabama. I don't think he had a monster game this past week, but, I mean, look, everybody knows what he can do, and I don't think that's going to be an issue for him throughout the year. But a guy that a lot of people are high on, and it's got sort of mixed reviews because people don't know exactly where to put him. They don't know if he's a running back, don't know if he's a linebacker, don't know if he's a slide, a wide receiver, or linebacker. But Harold Joyner at Mountain Brook. And this is a guy that if he walks in the room, you say, okay, I want him on my team. Now, you can pick next, but I want him because he is a specimen. But he's not the fastest running back you've ever seen, maybe not the shiftiest running back you've ever seen. He just gets the job done. And this past week against Gulf Shores, he had 195 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, the game didn't count. So, I mean, take
tell him that.
Yeah, take something off of it if you want to, but I think he only played 2.5, 3 quarters, if he played that much. So he is he's a somebody. And his recruitment's been so odd this year. At first, everybody thought he was going to Alabama or Auburn. And then he basically eliminated Alabama, too many running backs. Is
he one of these guys that wants to play running back?
He definitely wants to play running back. And then he looked like he was headed to LSU. LSU got a commitment from another kid from the state of Alabama at Madison County, and he said, okay, I'm no longer considering LSU. Then it seemed like Alabama and Auburn were back in it, and then Auburn gets a commitment from Asa Martin. It looks like Auburn's out of it. Meanwhile, somewhere in there, somehow, some way, Michigan State took the lead, even though he's never been there. And then he visits Alabama this past weekend. So because Alabama is still looking for a running back, but I think Alabama has liked him at other positions. But I think at this point, it's getting to a situation where you can say, okay, let's get Harold Joyner on our team, and if he is awesome at running back, well, we're using him at running back, and if it doesn't work out, maybe we can put him somewhere else. But he's too good of a looking kid to not have on your team. And it looks like we got a phone call. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
It's Randy. Glad to be on with y'all.
Hey, Randy. Thanks for being with us. We were just talking about Harold Joyner, and I was about to talk about Asa Martin, who had 3 touchdowns in his own right this past weekend. But I know you got to see, 4 pretty good prospects for Hewitt-Trussville last week?
I did, and, 2 of them really stood out. Hewitt-Trussville really handled the game from start to finish with Pell City. I think Pell City with Keith Etheridge coaching still on the up and up, and I think he'll get them there. But nonetheless, this Hewitt-Trussville team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, they're special. they were last year. I think it's just a carryover from last year, and if anything, maybe a slight step ahead with some of the skill position guys that they had. But I'll start with Paul Tyson back there at quarterback. He's a junior. All you got to do is show up and watch him warm up, and it's pretty obvious. He kind of reminded me of going to Opelika and watching Jake Bentley warm up as a junior in high school. You knew he was a special size player, could really spin it, and Paul Tyson looked like that. For those that don't know who we're talking about, he's about 6'4", 208. He's Bear Bryant's great-grandson. You can just tell he's been worked with. He's a transfer from Mountain Brook, I believe. Is that correct, Luke?
It is, and isn't that funny? How close would it have been to have Paul Tyson and Harold Joyner on the same team? My goodness.
He's got everything you look for. The one thing that you didn't get to see in the game on Friday night that we called is how does he react to pressure. Pell City couldn't get any on him, and that's probably for good reason. I'll move on to the next guy, Pierce Quick, who's one of the top recruits in his class as well, 6'5", 280. To me, looks like an interior lineman when you're out watching him. But, Luke, when I go and watch and call high school games, I look for motors on the line of scrimmage, and Pierce Quick had much smaller defenders in front of him, but he had them running 15 to 20 yards downfield. Extremely good athlete. Alabama's already got him committed. What is he, about the 30th ranked recruit in his class, Luke?
Yeah, plus or minus, and both of those guys are juniors, so they'll both be back. And then there's Daslin Worsham, who maybe you didn't get to see quite as much of because they didn't need the passing game as much.
I didn't see much of him. He was a sophomore. He's one of the top receivers in the country in the 20 class or the 19 class?
It's the 20 class, and he's already been named the top player in the state of Alabama for the 20 class, if you can believe it.
You know, he's only a sophomore. He looks like a sophomore. He looks like an athlete. I'm sure he puts on a show on 7-on-7 circuit, especially if Paul Tyson's throwing to him. I can't imagine this team in a 7-on-7 circuit. But the one, as far as just an unbelievable athlete, jumps off the field, is Pleasant Grove transfer and Miles Mason. He lined up at running back, Luke. I know he kind of looks to be a safety at the next level. Hewitt had 5 or 6 running backs. They had I believe his last name was McElwain, that's heading to Army, that's an all-purpose type guy. Very good player for them. Had 1,500 total yards of offense last year as a junior. Caught more passes out of the backfield than I think he had rushing yards. If that tells you how versatile he is. But Miles Mason, 6'1", 6'2", 210, 205, 210 in high school. Unbelievable athlete. Had one big hit, but did show up back there in the backfield, and you go, my gosh, this guy right here is their 3rd or 4th option at running back. Coach Floyd has put together a juggernaut at Hewitt-Trussville. They are one to watch. If there's a strength here in the state of Alabama, it's coaching. And when the coaches are getting the talent that we see Josh Floyd have and we see Niblett have this year and many others throughout the state, it's lining up to be a very special year in high school football.
Randy, you've called a lot of state championship games. Is Hewitt-Trussville of that caliber?
Yes, absolutely they are. And they were close last year, Luke. You know, they were first 10-0 season in school history in the regular season. They easily win the opening round. They take on a Gadsden City team there in the second round of the playoff, which is really the quarterfinals in Class 7A. They had beat Gadsden City by 2 touchdowns. Third game of the year, I believe. Gadsden City defeats them in the second round of the playoffs, 29-28. Score a lot there at the end, if my memory serves me correct. So they were right there on the cusp last year, and their coach was over in Arkansas, was the quarterback of Gus Malzahn's first state championship winning team in Arkansas, and he ends up coaching the same team that Gus and he quarterbacked. They won 4 state championships during his reign in Arkansas, so this guy knows how to get it done. He's a winner. He's got a dynamic offense. I think he's got one of the top quarterbacks in the state, if not the Southeast. I haven't looked at rankings. You know I don't, Luke. I'm just telling you off the cusp, Paul Tyson is the real deal. Whoever ends up with him, It'll be a shock if it's anybody other than Alabama, but whoever gets him is going to be getting a great one. So, yes, in my opinion, I think they're going to be right there in the thick of things.
Hey, Randy, before we let you go, Benjamin Russell had a little jamboree with Stanhope. Looked pretty good, took care of them pretty easily. They'll take on Clay Central, or Central Clay this Friday night. Kind of set that game up for us a little bit.
I always like Stanhope games as a barometer of how you are physically, how you are athletically. Because if you're not physical and you're not athletic and you take on a Stanhope Elmore team who's going to be both, it's going to show. And for Benjamin Russell to take a 14-12 lead into half, win the second half by 2 touchdowns, finish off the game 28-12, I think it points towards a positive season for the Wildcats moving this year. And Central Clay County is really a rival game. Central Clay able to pick up a victory on the Wildcats last year on the road, so the Wildcats get them back at home. I'm thrilled about it. Y'all know I love high school football, and I'm really happy with what Coach Horn's been able to put together here at Benjamin Russell High School, and Brett and I will be back over there to call it. 7 o'clock, 97.5 Kowaliga Country will go on air at 6:30.
And we're on a new station tonight, too, Randy.
Yes, we are, and we want to welcome everybody over in the Auburn and Opelika market to our program tonight, and this is something we've been working on for quite some time. Excited to be over there with our Sportz Blitz programming. Andy, we got a new program as well that's on daily called the Auburn Blitz. It's only aired on Facebook Live, but nonetheless, if you see the views that we've had in the first couple of days of that program, there's so many different avenues to get your programs out there, and that's something we've been working on for quite some time. Got some other programming that we're working on for the future, so stay tuned in. Luke, best thing we can do, you and I work at this probably more than most. Find us on our social media outlets. We'll pass along any of our programming opportunities out there, and we're excited about it.
Randy, we really appreciate you joining us, and look forward to hearing you and Brett Friday night.
Thank y'all. Watching y'all tonight.
Absolutely. See you, buddy. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, hopefully, we'll be joined by Bob Ferrente from Knowles247.com to talk a little bit about Florida State as they match up with the Alabama Crimson Tide Saturday night, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 7 o'clock on ESPN. More to come right after this.
If you've ever wanted a Lexus, now is your opportunity at the Reinhardt Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. The time of the year to get savings on the Lexus you want. With extra inventory, the selection is better than ever on the most popular models. Save thousands with low monthly payments and special financing. Get 0% APR on the ES for 60 months. At Reinhardt Lexus, an opportunity like this only knocks once a year. So find your Lexus today at Reinhardt Lexus, where you'll feel like family.
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Relief has a new address in Alexander City. Main Street Family Urgent Care is now open across from Walmart on Highway 280. From cuts, broken bones, strep throat, and flu, they can help you heal and feel better fast. Open 8 to 8 Monday through Friday, 8 to 6 on Saturday, and 1 to 6 on Sunday.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
TPE Power Equipment is now the trusted name for all your mower and power equipment needs. Whether it's our original Tallahassee location or Opelika location on Fredericks Road, we've got East Alabama covered with the best brands of mowers and power equipment from Husqvarna, Toro, Kawasaki, Echo, and Honda. Right now, get commercial strength Husqvarna zero-turn mowers with our fleet program that offers deep discounts, easy finance, and bonus handheld equipment in one solid package. TPE of Opelika and Tallahassee are the new standard of everything power equipment in East Alabama.
Homeowners all over Alabama have discovered that when you need your flooring clean, whether it's carpet, upholstery, or any manner of hard surfaces, there's no clean like Peaches and Clean. Serving Auburn, the Chattahoochee Valley, Montgomery, Birmingham, and the Lake Martin area. Call 866-837-6937, 866-837-6937, or visit peachesandclean.com. Caring for your floor and a whole lot more.
Heads up, we're going back to 77. Disco, bell-bottoms, and Ford F-Series starts its epic run as the best-selling trucks in America. Fast forward to 2017, F-Series is still king for 40 straight years. How? Rock-solid durability, up to the nanosecond technology, and jaw-dropping capability. No wonder the competition hasn't been number one since these. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 40 straight years.
This segment of Sports Blitz is brought to you by Advanced Heating and Air, your authorized East Central Alabama train dealer. Call Advanced Heating and Air. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live on this Tuesday evening. Andy and Luke here with you until 9 o'clock this evening. We're going to go to the phone line now and welcome in a very special guest, Mr. Bob Ferranti from Knowles247.com. Bob, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, no problem. How are you all doing?
We're doing really well. Of course, everybody really anticipating the matchup between Alabama and Florida State this coming Saturday night. The highest ranked game, I think, in AP poll history to start out a season. I know everybody really looking forward to it. When you look down through here, just going back, I was just happened to notice some research I was doing, go back 5 years. Between these two teams, we're talking about 10 seasons. 7 of the last 10 seasons between these two teams, 12 wins or better each and every year. So 2 of the top programs, without any question, in the past 5 years, and certainly 2 of the top programs in the country this year. When you look at the matchup between Florida State and Alabama, this just started off. Where do you see maybe some advantages for Florida State? Where do you see maybe some disadvantages for Florida State?
I think it's going to start in the trenches, and I think that's where a lot of games are won and lost. But, with Florida State, their strength really is on defense in the defensive line and in the secondary. But this is a really deep defensive line. They got Derek Nottie, the defensive tackle, to come back for his senior season. He could be one of the more dominant defensive tackles in the ACC. They've got a lot of good pass rushers, guys like Josh Sweat, Brian Burns, Jake Pugh, coming off the edge. Some questions at linebacker. I don't know how much you all have been keeping up with it in Alabama, but linebacker Matthew Thomas, a 5-star from the 2013 class, has not been practicing in 3 weeks, so that's a huge question mark right now going into the game. But up front, Florida State's really strong. I think that's where they could capitalize on Alabama's offensive line if the opportunities are given.
Well, looking at it another way, I think that Florida State's offensive line was much maligned last year, and Alabama's defensive front, though they lost some folks, they have Deron Payne, Deshaun Hand, those types of guys coming back. What about Florida State's offensive line? Have they gotten better, in your opinion, from last season?
I kind of look at Florida State's line as, 2 different animals. It's kind of Jekyll and Hyde. Their pass protection is incredibly suspect and inconsistent, whereas the run blocking has been fairly good. I think part of that is that Dalvin Cook made it look really good the last couple of years. But this is really an offensive line where they excel at clearing holes. It's the strength of the guards on the left side, Landon Dickerson, on the right side, Cole Minshew. This is an offensive line that has been really inconsistent for the last few years. Major questions about Rick Trick and how he's developed the line. They've had some quality players. Roderick Johnson moved on a year early to the NFL, so they had to find a left tackle. And in reality, they've gone through 3 guys. In the spring, they all thought it was going to be Josh Ball. And in August, they all thought it was going to be Rick Leonard. And now they've figured out that it's probably going to be Derek Kelly, a guy who's had injuries the last 2 years. But he's really kind of come out of nowhere. He's a guy who we thought might be a backup at right tackle, maybe a backup at one of the guard positions. Now all of a sudden he's starting at left tackle. So absolutely, there are huge question marks about the pass protection. DeAndre Francois took 34 sacks last year, and a lot of those were on the pass protection. Some of them were on him as a first-year starter, but he took some shots. And kept getting up. Give him credit, but he cannot take these kind of shots against Alabama and on through this 2017 season.
Let's talk about Cam Akers and Jacques Patrick. That's a deadly combo at running back. Were you a little surprised Cam Akers didn't get the nod to start?
I think Coach Fisher tends to lean on the veterans, and the depth chart tends to be heavy with starters who are seniors and juniors, guys with experience. Jimbo really likes Jaquez Patrick. He was a guy who was offered a scholarship at 14. It was Patrick's first scholarship. That's the reason why he's here in a lot of respects. I think we're going to see a lot of Cam Akers. I think who starts at running back is sort of just noteworthy, if you will. Florida State does not plan on having a workhorse tailback like they did with Dalvin Cook. They will run Patrick. They will run Akers. They will use them possibly in a two tailback set without a fullback. I think we'll see a lot of tailback rotation. Akers has been, all the reviews of him from the veterans have been overwhelmingly positive. I think the question just is he ready, even as an early enrollee, to contribute in his first game of the season?
Well, Bob, one more question before we let you go. Of course, you mentioned DeAndre Francois. Absolutely, some of the shots he took last year probably should be illegal in most states, but he kept getting up. His toughness certainly not in question at all. But just talk a little bit about him as he's a year older. Is his maturity level gained that as well? Is he going to be a better quarterback this year than he was last year?
I think that's been a big off-season storyline, is people wondering if he's going to take the next step. Is he going to continue to progress as a leader? His accuracy was really quite low last season. He was about 58%. But an interesting stat, he was a 54% passer in the first half and a 68% in the second half. So it kind of showed he was able to make adjustments with the coaching staff, and he really led them on a lot of comebacks. I mean, he led them on a comeback against North Carolina. They lost in the end. Led them on a comeback against Clemson. Lost in the end. He came back out Miami in the bowl game against Michigan on the road at NC State. This is a guy who has put Florida State in positions to win. He's not incredibly accurate. His decision-making is not great, but he's learning and developing. He says he's worked hard this offseason. He really wants to show people all that hard work, and we'll see. We're all kind of wondering what's going to happen on Saturday.
That's Bob Ferrante from Noles247.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Bob Ferrante. Bob, we really appreciate you joining us, and good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much.
He brought up the North Carolina game last year, and that's what I was just thinking is DeAndre Francois in that game was a lot like Jalen Hurts in the Clemson game. I mean, if you remember that, it was an improbable comeback. It just, in the end, somehow wasn't enough. It was crazy.
He left out, come back against Ole Miss. First game of the year.
He sure did. And in fact, those two games, the Alabama Ole Miss game and the Florida State Ole Miss game, were a lot alike. I said it last week on the show that Alabama and Florida State seem to be pretty linked for whatever reason. The Jameis Winston tie-in there, the coaching tree of Saban and Jimbo Fisher, and their being together.
Mickey Andrews was a long time.
That's true. I mean, it's Bobby Bowden. I mean, you just go down the list. There are a lot of Alabama-Florida State tie-ins and Florida State-Auburn tie-ins for that matter. And it's just another reason to me that it's a shame that Florida State's not in this conference.
This is true. Up against a break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Sports Blitz Live right after these messages.
If you've been putting off that new heating and air unit in your home because of the upfront expenses, Williams Plumbing of Alexander City now has primary financing from Synchrony and can now install brand new heating and cooling systems with zero down, longer terms, and a competitive rate. Call Williams Plumbing at 256-329-8488 and get a free quote and terms and upgrade up to $35,000 in work with approved credit. Williams Plumbing stands behind their work with on-time affordable service for all your heating and air needs, as well as plumbing for zero down financing and great service. Williams
When enjoying the lake this season, make sure to drop by Harbor Point Marina for all your gas, snacks, boating supplies, and beverage needs. Harbor Point also wants you to come see our remaining 2017 Crest pontoons, priced to move at all-season pricing. Harbor Point Crest sales have been tremendous, and they're ready to unload their remaining 2017 Crest Tri-Tunes to make way for the 2018 order. Come see the best in pontoons at our 2017 season closeout prices. Act now because inventory is limited, and enjoy your new Crest pontoon this year. For all your own water needs and sacrifice pricing on Crest pontoons, get to the point. Harbor Point at Still Waters on Lake Martin.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your expressway to saving.
Find everything you need for the perfect outdoor living space at Russell Do-It Center, like the Fire Rock Outdoor Conventional Fireplace. Smartly designed masonry systems that are easy to install and are less than half the cost of a scratch-built brick and mortar fireplace. Weber Grills, the best outdoor gas, electric, and charcoal grills, which always come pre-assembled. Yeti Coolers, premium coolers and accessories that are the ultimate in design, performance, and durability. Russell Do-It Center, experience and knowledge from the pros.
Summertime means savings time during the summer clearance event at Bice Motors. Save over $8,200 on a great selection of loaded new 2017 Chrysler 200 Limiteds. Was $25,705, now $17,500. Need a truck? Bice has new 2017 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Express 4x2s for $299 a month.
Guaranteed lowest price, or we'll pay you the difference in price twice.
Don't miss the summer clearance event going on now. BiceChryslerDodge.com.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Dark Insurance, offering insurance for all your personal needs, including auto, boat, homeowners, and disability. Don't be in the dark. Call Dark Insurance at 256-234-5026.
Want to thank Mr. Bob Ferranti. Didn't really even know if he didn't care. Ferranti.
It was funny. I mean, before
potato.
It was before the interview. We wanted to be sure we got his name right, and we said, "Is it Ferranti?" He said, "Sure, why not?" And I also think I said Jacques Patrick, and I think I was in French mode because of DeAndre Francois, and it's Jacques. And I should have known that from the start because that was one of my favorite recruits. His highlight film was fantastic. It was very Bo Scarborough junior year Alabama-esque or last year Alabama-esque. I guess he's a redshirt sophomore last year. But he looked like him. He is a built, strong, fast kid. In high school, he just ran people over. I absolutely loved that guy in high school. And he hadn't lit the world on fire at Florida State. And Cam Akers has come in and impressed so many people. So I was a little shocked Cam Akers didn't get in the start, but I think he's going to get to play a lot. And again, another Alabama-Florida State thing. Everybody's number one and number two running back from last year was Cam Akers and Najee Harris, and now they get to go head-to-head.
Should be interesting. Let's talk a little bit about this game coming up this Saturday night. We mentioned some of the things, or talk about some of the things Bob mentioned. He talked about Florida State's defensive line. That's getting a lot of publicity. You know, you even mentioned that, how good their defensive line is. Is it as good? Or maybe even as good or better than Alabama's defensive line. He thinks that's an opportunity for them to have an advantage against Alabama's offensive line. Do you think that could be the case?
I think Alabama's offensive line against Florida State's defensive line is a better matchup than the reverse. Meaning, I think Alabama's defensive line is going to give Florida State's offensive lines more fits than the other way around. I think Alabama's offensive line is pretty doggone strong. I mean, Jonah Williams was freshman All-American. A lot of people have pinned him as being an All-American or second-team All-American this year. I think Alabama's offensive line is pretty strong. I love Florida State's defensive line. But I think he also brought up an interesting point about Matthew Thomas, who has missed some practice for Florida State. And they have another kid named Adonis Thomas who actually left Alabama. He was at Alabama. He left, went to JUCO, and now he's at Florida State. I think his playing is a little questionable too. So they may have some depth questions at linebacker. That being said, when you got Derwin James and some of the other, Levanta Taylor, some of the other guys they have in that secondary, I mean, their defense is pretty doggone strong. I mean, I would put it up against a lot. Now, they did give up a lot of yards in a 3-game stretch last season, but they were going against the likes of Lamar Jackson, who won a Heisman Trophy. That day in Louisville last year, when Florida State played Louisville, and I want to say it was an early kick.
It was.
At Louisville. How many teams would have beaten Louisville then?
Well, yeah, but they got blowed out.
They got blown out, and I'm right there with you. I hear what you're saying. On that day, and that's why timing is a big part of college football. I keep hearing another thing, and I keep hating to go back to this Auburn-Clemson thing, but
why do you keep going back?
Because it ties into a lot of this.
Oh,
but I listened to some other programs, and they keep saying, we were only a quarterback away from beating Clemson, and I think it's all about timing. If anybody had played Clemson, I'm including Alabama.
I think we were a head coach away from beating Clemson,
and maybe a quarterback, and maybe a couple other things, but.
I would have taken our chances with that quarterback and a decent
with a different head
Let
coach.
me make the game plan up.
But I think if anybody had played Louisville at that time, they probably would have lost. Louisville just looked great. I mean, they were strong. But that's what makes good teams great is you play like that more often. And Louisville had that one game in them. And then I take it back. They had 98% of a game against Clemson, and that last little bit kept them from probably being in the national championship game, because I bet you things would have turned out a little differently.
I think so. I think you're probably right. To speak to your point, and this is one of those stats, it's kind of hard. Defensively, last year, Florida State led the nation in sacks per game. Almost 4 sacks a game, 3.9. That's first in the country. Tackles for loss, they were 22nd in the country. They are creating pressure. Mm-hmm. On offense, they gave up 2.7 sacks per game. That's 106th in the country. So, I mean, it's night and day.
With a mobile quarterback.
With a mobile quarterback. But you know what the funny – I mean, there's 14 teams, right, in the ACC? Mm-hmm. They did add 2. 106th in the country, that was still good for 10th. There were 4 teams worse in the ACC.
That's strong.
It giving up sacks. That's awful.
Yeah, it's funny how everybody loves to talk about debate whether the SEC has lost a step, and just because Alabama's won the last 3 and favored to win this one, I still think the SEC is the best conference. I think the ACC has had some better quarterbacks, but I think overall, top to bottom, it's the SEC, and I'm going to always believe that. But I'll go back to I think
something about Auburn and Clemson.
But I do like. See, I wish Florida State and Clemson were both in the SEC. How much better would this conference be?
Be better than Missouri and Texas A&M.
Okay, keep Missouri and Texas A&M. Put them both have them both in the West.
Yeah.
Put Clemson and Florida State in the East, and let the rough end drag.
I like it. Bring it on. 16-team SEC. How about let's just make 24 teams? I mean,
let's not even have. Let's just have one big SEC. Let's take them all.
Up against another break. We come back. We'll finish up our talk about Florida State, and Alabama. I'll ask Luke some true false, some fill in the blank.
True false about the game, right?
That's true.
Okay.
Well, truth or dare, you never know. We'll be back with more right after this.
Why buy your next car from Lynch Nissan of Auburn?
At U.S. AmeriBank, there's something very different at the heart of what we do and who we are. It's a spirit that also defines our neighbors, local businesses, and communities. Building on our 116-year history in Alabama, U.S. AmeriBank provides something found nowhere else: craft banking. It's an unwavering commitment to handcrafted banking solutions that turns customers into enthusiastic fans. Visit usameribank.com or your local branch to discover the U.S. AmeriBank difference. U.S. AmeriBank. Banking on values. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Jewelry by Design is Auburn's premier jeweler for over 20 years. Mark and Tammy Nelson invite you to see their unique selection of engagement rings, each crafted to be a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, custom designed with only natural premium diamonds that are never enhanced. Jewelry by Design is also your officially licensed Auburn University jeweler that handcrafts all of their Auburn jewelry, as unique as your passion for the Auburn Tigers. For jewelry that's crafted to your style, visit Jewelry by Design on Dean Road in Auburn or online at jewelrybydesignauburn.com.
If you had $6,000, how would you spend it?
I'd pay bills.
How about a new car? Vacation!
At Hyundai of Auburn today, you can get the new car and do the other things.
What? How?
Pick out your dream car and drive away with as much as $6,000 to spend however you'd like.
America's best warranty and $6,000?
Luxury and $6,000.
Be thinking how to spend your $6,000. HyundaiofAuburn.com.
Vacation!
Now is the best time to see the good guys the locals know, Alex City Marine. With last year being our best year yet, Landau Pontoons has increased Alex City Marine's allocation of Landaus for the 17 season. Our Suzuki outboard selections are at an all-time high. Alex City Marine is now also Lake Martin's exclusive Manitou pontoon dealer with a full line of the luxurious Manitou Tri-Tune with patented V-Tune technology for top performance. Get the best selection now of Landau and Manitou pontoons. Alex City Marine, Lake Martin. This segment of Sports Blitz is brought to you by Satterfield on Highway 280 in Alex City. Satterfield is the Lake Martin area's Big Green Egg and Accessories headquarters.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Look a little true or false. Florida State's starting 11 on both sides are as talented as Alabama's starting 11.
True by just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Very close to being false. But it's teetering on false, but I think it's true. I think Alabama is probably deeper.
Yes.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think that's what makes Alabama so much better. Everybody loves to say, well, you know, so-and-so starting 11 is just as good as Alabama starting 11. Number one, usually that's not true. Number two, even if it is true, it's the depth that gets you. I mean, when a lot of people take a running back out and they replace a Bo Scarborough, they put somebody else in who's not bad, but he's not great. And if that guy gets hurt, then they put in their third string. I think Alabama's going to feel pretty good about whoever they put back there or whoever they go along the offensive line. Jedrick Wills has come in as a true freshman, and he's going to play a lot along the offensive line. He didn't even come in the spring. He came in the fall, and he was a 5-star in one service, so I guess it shouldn't be that surprising. But there are a lot of 5-stars along the offensive line at Alabama, and he's moved up the ranks the fastest.
True or false? Either way, this will be a one-score game.
I'm going to say true because I've seen some people say this will be a 2-score game, 3-score game, either side. I just think it's going to be close. I just do. I think Jimbo Fisher's putting a lot of emphasis on this game. I know Alabama will. And I think it's just going to be tight throughout. I think this is going to be one of those games that's back and forth. I do not see a 52-6 Alabama-USC game. I just don't see that.
Just a little inside information. Bob Ferrante from Nose 24/7 said that he was supposed to cover a question and answer with Jimbo today. He canceled it. First time he's done that in a decade. He said he'd been covering Florida State.
Now, that would concern me. Because when coaches start doing things like that, it makes you feel like they're getting tense.
Yeah.
And so that would be concerning to me.
I think we got a phone call.
Okay. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
This is Brian from Electric.
Hey, Brian.
I got Bama by 14.
Bama by 14. All right, we'll put it down, brother.
2-score game.
2-score game.
They call it 14 Brim.
Thank you, Brian.
14 Brim and a 14 point.
Is it coincidence?
Yeah, that's where he gets it from.
Okay.
That's where he gets his magic. Fill in the blank. The Seminoles will win the game Saturday if they blank.
if their offensive line is better. If their offensive line is, it'd have to be a good bit better, is better than last year by a pretty good margin, yeah, I think they win. I think that's Alabama's big advantage right there. Because I'll tell you something, their defensive backfield and their defensive line scare me to death in terms of Alabama's passing game. Alabama's got some very talented wide receivers, Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. They're all true freshmen, though. So, I mean, Calvin Ridley is your guy, your bell cow, but then what? I mean, then I would say your next 3 or 4 guys that you're going to beat, or your heavy hitters, are all true freshmen.
Mm. Fill in the blank. Alabama will win the game Saturday if they
don't turn the ball over. I think that's going to be crucial. Don't throw. You can't have interceptions. Jalen Hurts going to have to take care of the ball. And I also think Alabama doesn't need to get too much out of what they do. I mean, this doesn't have to be Brian Dable's audition. This doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to show us all these magical things he can do. Win the game. Beat Florida State 3-2, 28-27. Whatever you want the score to be, just beat Florida State and get out of the Mercedes Dome with a victory. Don't worry about what the stats look like. Don't try to be something Alabama isn't. Alabama's kind of a rough and tumble team that tries to overwhelm you. We don't have to go deep all the time. Just because we have the ability to go deep, I don't think going deep a lot against this crowd is going to work.
Over under 60 combined points scored in the game.
I got to go under with these two defenses, but having said that, not so fast, my friend.
Teetering on going
I'm going to say it's teetering. It's teetering because you think about Alabama and Ole Miss, you think about Florida State and Ole Miss. You think about Alabama and Clemson and Florida State and Clemson. These are all pretty high-scoring games. I mean, so even though they got good defenses, it still could be one of those
Anybody that seems to be able to throw the ball with competency, you get into a high-scoring game with Alabama. I don't know.
You could.
I mean, that seems to be the
And it's
secret.
also teams that don't get scared. I mean, Alabama can be up 10-0 before you ever kick it off because other teams look over there and go, holy cow. I mean, the Notre Dame game comes to mind. I mean, that game was over before it started.
Oh, yeah.
So we have one more caller. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah. Who do y'all think's going to win the Auburn-Clemson game? Yeah, I was calling. Who do y'all think's going to win the Auburn-Clemson game?
Go ahead, Andy.
Well, I think Auburn's going to win it. I mean, ask me again after we beat Georgia Southern. But let's get that one in the bank first. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. A really good team will go up to Clemson and win. Now, I mean, a good team could go up there and lose, but a really good team will go up there and win. So if Auburn's a really good team, then they'll win. If they're not, then they're just maybe a good team, and they might win 8 or 9 games. I'm not really interested in that right now. I'm focused on 10 wins.
I was going to add the loss of the Sean Watson and Mike Williams. I think that's what's going to give Auburn a chance to win right there.
And I agree with you. I think that certainly does help. Whenever you play in a team that doesn't have Deshaun Watson on anymore, I think it's very positive. But they do bring Deion Kane back. They do bring a lot of other wide receivers back. I mean, Auburn fans are enamored with their own wide receiver collection. They should be because they have a lot of stars by their name. But experience-wise, I think Clemson's have proven more on the college level. And then they also have some good running backs that they've recruited. Clemson is recruited as well as anybody in the SEC not named Alabama. So I think that Clemson is going to have talent, and their defensive line may be the strongest in the country.
All right.
Thank you for the phone call, though. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Luke.
I think people are underselling Clemson, but I'll say this: it wouldn't surprise me if Auburn went there and won. I can't predict the game. I'm like you. I got to see something out of what Auburn's going to be like, and maybe you can't discern too much from Auburn, Georgia Southern,
especially if it's pouring down rain.
You can get a feel for the team, I think. I mean, you can be fooled in games like this, there's no doubt, but I think you can get a feel for the chemistry, right? I mean, sort of an intangible thing, not necessarily a stat line, but and I also want to kind of see what Clemson brings to the table against Kent State. I think Kent State's having some problems, like their coach may not make the trip.
That's never a good thing.
No, that's not good. Like it's not that he's just not going. There's a reason. He's like, I don't want to even go play him. But I think that I want to see what Clemson is going to do at quarterback too. I'm necessarily tooting Clemson's horn here, but I think that people around these parts are underselling the fact that they just lost to Sean Watson, so they'll be terrible.
I'm overselling Auburn. I'm not underselling Clemson. I believe they're going to be really, really good. That's why I think Auburn's going to need to be a really good team to go up there and win.
And the other thing is Dabo has, I mean, say what you want to about him. I've heard a lot of people call him goofy. I kind of agree with you. I've had some personal interaction with him. I think he's one of the best men I've ever met in my life. I mean, he's just, I can see why he's a great recruiter. People gravitate towards him. He is a fantastic human being. Can he be a little goofy? Yeah. But at Clemson, to get the attention, you have to be a little goofy. I said this about Alabama and Auburn basketball. Alabama and Auburn football sell themselves. Anybody can be out there at coach, and we've tried that. Anybody can be out there at coach, and we'll show up. But in basketball for Alabama and Auburn, you better be able to have a little song and dance. You better have something you're selling. And at Clemson football, you need to have something you're selling. It's not in the upper echelon historically. He's put him in the upper echelon for recent history, though.
Quickly, a final one, over under 300 total yards for Jalen Hurts.
Oh, just passing?
300 total yards.
Oh, total yards. Over. I got to go over.
Throws for 200, runs for 100?
Something like that.
Throws
for
250,
runs for 50, something like that. I mean, yeah, I think over 300 total yards.
Okay.
Sure.
We'll go ahead and take a break. When we come back, hopefully we'll be joined by Danny Reed, the voice of the Georgia Southern Eagles. More to come right after this.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
At U.S. AmeriBank, there's something very different at the heart of what we do and who we are. It's a spirit that also defines our neighbors, local businesses, and communities. Building on our 116-year history in Alabama, U.S. AmeriBank provides something found nowhere else: craft banking. It's an unwavering commitment to handcrafted banking solutions that turns customers into enthusiastic fans. Visit usameribank.com or your local branch to discover the U.S. AmeriBank difference. U.S. AmeriBank. Banking on values. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Lex Wedgeworth has been the most trusted pest control company for a generation, and now we're proud to announce our new name, EnviroCare. You can expect the same high standards for all your pest control needs, and EnviroCare's exclusive Centricon termite colony elimination system that provides the industry standard to protect your home or business. The EnviroCare Centricon termite protection protects your home year-round. Call the professionals of EnviroCare throughout Central East Alabama. Call for a free estimate. Nobody cares like EnviroCare, the next generation of full pest control for your home or business.
A1 Four Seasons, a division of Jackson Refrigeration, is Central Alabama's Alabama Power Superior Solutions dealer. With the summer months approaching, the temperatures are rising, and so will your power bill if you don't have one of the latest 410A heat pumps. With R22 Freon prices on the rise, now is the time to make the switch to a new, more efficient unit that will save you hundreds of dollars on your yearly power bill. Call A1 Four Seasons at 256-234-4457.
What's behind the CA?
A world full of opportunities.
Where are you now? Where are you going?
Where do you want to be?
These are all important in determining your path in life.
More importantly, why be ordinary
when you can be extraordinary?
At Central Alabama Community College, you can be anything you wish to be.
Don't put your future on hold, and don't settle for less than excellence.
We are Central Alabama Community College.
Central to you.
Central to your success.
Ask what makes it the best 3 Series ever, and we'll tell you it has more advanced suspension and steering, or even more control of the road. And it's near perfectly balanced to put performance first. But ask if we're aware the competition mimics us just to keep up? No comment. The BMW 3 Series.
Visit BMW of Columbus on Whittlesey Boulevard or shop
This segment of Sports Blitz is brought to you by Alex City Marine, the Lake Martin area's premier new and used boat and motor dealership. Find out more at alexcitymarine.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Live. I'm Andy Graham here with you until 9 o'clock. We want to go to the phone line and welcome in a very special guest, Mr. Danny Reed, the voice of the Georgia Southern Eagles. Danny, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Andy, no problem. Happy to talk with you for a little bit.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, just for our listeners' and viewers' sake, just give us a little background on yourself. What led you to Statesboro, and what have you been doing in your career so far?
Sure. Originally from Western Maryland, I went to college about an hour south of Pittsburgh, graduated back in 2007, immediately got into radio play-by-play and sports media. I've been in that for the last 10 years. Done 5 years worth of minor league baseball. I spent 3 years as the play-by-play guy for football, basketball, and baseball down at the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, where I lived for 7 years. Before that, I was the director of broadcasting for the minor league baseball's Charleston River Dogs. And then when I moved to Bowling Green, Kentucky in 2015, I spent 1 year there as the voice of the Hot Rods. They're the Class A affiliate of the Rays. And then this position opened up, and I ended up applying and accepted August 2015. I finished 2 years of full play-by-play for men's basketball and baseball. Spent that first year on the sidelines of football, but last year was my first play-by-play season. Our former voice, Chris Blair, is now the voice of the LSU Tigers, so I'm sure people in Auburn territory are quite familiar with over the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just a question. I don't know. I mean, you say you just joined. You've been there since 2015. You might not be the, have a good answer for this. I don't know, but just a kind of curiosity. What went into why the transition to FBS? Georgia Southern dominated FCS football, 1AA football back in the day. What prompted the move to want to move to FBS?
Truthfully, Andy, it boiled down to big fish, small pond. And granted, Georgia Southern won 6 national championships in the 1AA ranks from 1985 through the year 2000. They won 11 conference championships. They were pretty much the pinnacle of the Southern Conference during their time there, but it just got to a point where it seemed feasible on the field, and I think from an economical standpoint that Georgia Southern could make the move to the FBS. And in year one, it was proven that you could do it that quickly and have success whenever you go to the Sun Belt, and you go 8-0 right out of the gate. Granted, they couldn't go to a bowl game because of the NCAA provision, but to go 9-3, could have been 11-1, but to go 8-0 in conference play in your very first year. Didn't lose a conference game until October of year 2 in the conference, even though last year was a little bit of a step back in comparison to the first couple of seasons in the FBS. You've got to think that Georgia Southern is one of the programs, along with an Appalachian State, that has certainly set a benchmark for teams in the FCS who might be considering a similar jump.
No question about that. This team this year in 2017, kind of an oddity. Only 8 seniors on the entire roster. Do you think that will come into play this year?
That's the fewest number of seniors of any team in the 130-team FBS. It's been well chronicled. Tyson Summers, the head coach, has had to answer quite a few questions about it. The good thing is that a lot of the guys that you're going to see on Saturday night on the Plains and in 2017 are guys that Tyson has recruited in just 2 years. He got hired in December of 2015. He basically had a couple of weeks to put together a recruiting class and ended up being the top recruiting class in the history of Georgia Southern football and one of the best in Sun Belt history. Last year's was just as good, being able to load up on the defensive side of the football and getting a few quality running backs. But you're going to see a different kind of physically gifted Georgia Southern program. Typically, when people have looked at Eagle football, it's been a lot of smaller guys, a lot of 5'7" to 5'10", 5'11" guys, not all that heavy. Kirk Russell came up with the idea that runs have to try a little bit harder, and they certainly did, and that was a key to all the 1AA and FCS success because they never lost that mentality. But from a physical standpoint, the ability to recruit, especially on the defensive side of the ball, Georgia Southern is big but not being too bulky up front. They're lean. The defensive linemen have length. They're faster than they were a year ago, and you're just seeing a newer age of recruiting and a different caliber of athlete that these guys have been able to pull in over the last 24 months.
I know a lot of people, and probably myself included, you think about when a team runs the triple option, you kind of lump them all in together, but there are certainly different varieties of it. Brian Cook, new offensive coordinator, comes over from Georgia Tech. Are we going to see a little bit different Georgia Southern offense this year? Is it going to more resemble Georgia Tech?
Watching practices and scrimmages, the way that Brian Cook has put this particular slant on the option together, I've never seen anything quite like it. You've got your flex bones, your under centers, whether you're a fan of Navy, Georgia Tech, or Air Force. You've got your shotgun principled option, which Tulane is running. Granted, Willie Fritz brought that here in 2015 and then has successfully taken it to Tulane along with his offensive coordinator, Doug Bruce. You're going to see somewhere in the vicinity, maybe splitting the difference of those two, you'll see a little bit of shotgun, you'll see a little bit of under center, depending on what part of the field that they're in. But just the way that he's designed these schemes, the way the guys move before the snap, and the way that you can get hit by not just the three guys involved in the triple option on any given play, but also the three pass catchers that could be on the field at any given time. Just the way that he has assembled everything, the way that the line is blocked, the way that the line has come together, it really is cool to watch it not only thrive, but the way it has come along since spring ball, since everybody got here.
Well, a new quarterback for the Georgia Southern Eagles this year. Am I saying this right? Shy Wirtz?
Shy Wirtz, you got it.
All right, so talk to us a little bit about him. What can we expect to see from this year redshirt freshman?
Shy Wirtz had a chance to sit and watch two of the best in Georgia Southern history a year ago, and Kevin Ellison and Fabian Upshaw as a redshirt. He comes from Clinton, South Carolina, which is where Presbyterian is located. He went to Newberry High. Outstanding career. He had 32 combined touchdowns as a senior. He had 73 over the course of his career. South Carolina and Appalachian State both recruited him heavily. South Carolina wanted him as a wide receiver and return man, and ironically, the guy that recruited him there, Sean Elliott, is now the head coach at Georgia State. But for Wirtz, he's got that Georgia Southern quarterback build. He's actually built similarly, but not as big as Kevin Ellison. He's about 5'11". He may go around 180, 185. He reminds me a lot of former Georgia Southern quarterback Greg Hill. I don't think he is as tall as Hill, but the way that the pads sit on his uniform and the way that he runs the football, because in this offense you're going to ask even more out of your quarterback, not just to run the show, but literally run the football. He has a chance to join a truly remarkable group of Eagle quarterbacks as the program renewed in the early 1980s. He has all the skills physically. He watches a ton of film. Coach Summers mentioned that during our coaches show last night. They've had off days, and Shy will go in and he'll watch hours and hours of film when he could just be relaxing and giving his body a rest, but he wants to make sure that his mind is sharp because he's basically waited 2 years to get a shot like this, and he gets a chance to debut at Auburn. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
Yeah, we were talking before. We're all kind of a little tired of seeing our guys hit our guys. We're ready to hit somebody else. I know everybody's looking forward to this one. Georgia Southern visiting Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday night, 6:30 on the SEC Network. Danny, really appreciate you joining us tonight. Wish you guys the best of luck this season, and love to catch up with you again sometime.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Up against the break here, but don't go anywhere. More to come on this edition of Sportz Blitz Live right after this.
So you want to build a home? Build the home you want with America's Home Place. Choose from over 150 floor plans, then personalize. Tile backsplash with granite countertops? Done. A spacious bathroom you've always dreamed of? You got it. Choose every detail, floors, cabinets, even the paint color.
How about electric lime?
Can't decide? Relax. At America's Home Place, we take care of it all. It's your home. Own it. America's Home Place.
Now is the best time to see the good guys the locals know, Alex City Marine. With last year being our best year yet, Landau Pontoons has increased Alex City Marine's allocation of Landaus for the 17 season. Our Suzuki outboard selections are at an all-time high. Alex City Marine is now also Lake Martin's exclusive Manitou pontoon dealer with a full line of the luxurious Manitou Tri-Tune with patented V-Tune technology for top performance. Get the best selection now of Landau and Manitou pontoons. Alex City Marine, Lake Martin.
Whether it's a dream house or corporate real estate, Concrete has the skill, expertise, and talent to exceed your expectations. Trust Concrete to build a foundation for your future. Our work ethic and dedication are always in keeping the competition on their toes. We specialize in residential and commercial development in the Coosa, Talladega, and Shelby County areas. Call us today for your next project, 256-245-4211, or check us out on the web at con-crete.com.
There is a strength inside you, unknown and imperfect, waiting. And when you think you have nothing left to give, when each obstacle in your path is more formidable than the last, that's when you'll find it. And with that strength, your greatness will have no limits.
Summertime means savings ton during the summer clearance event at Bice Motors. Save over $8,200 on a great selection of loaded new 2017 Chrysler 200 Limiteds. Was $25,705, now $17,500. Need a truck? Bice has new 2017 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Express 4x2s for $299 a month.
Guaranteed lowest price, or we'll pay you the difference in price twice.
Don't miss the summer clearance event going on now. BiceChryslerDodge.com.
And I know when I need it, I can count on you. Like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh.
You can count on the caring team at Brown Nursing and Rehabilitation. Our services include physical, speech, and occupational therapy. Brown Nursing and Rehabilitation, 256-329-9061.
Auburn Blitz is brought to you by Opelika Ford Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where all roads lead to Opelika, within an hour of Lake Martin, South Birmingham, Montgomery, and Columbus.
Welcome back, everyone, to a dark, all of a sudden, studio, but we appreciate you joining us. Time for the Sportz Blitz Players of the Week, and I'll let Luke start us off.
Well, let's start with the Interlink Mortgage Services Lee County Player of the Week, and that's Trey Ezel from Notasulga. He threw 3 touchdown passes in leading the Blue Devils to a 37-33 season-opening victory over Reeltown.
Next, we'll move to the Lake Martin Player of the Week, presented by Sign Source. That would be Quay Tucker from Dadeville. The running back had over 100 yards in the first half, including touchdown runs of 66, 51 yards to help Dadeville upset Lafayette 28-14 to open the season.
The Lee Apparel East Alabama Player of the Week is Terrion Truitt from Lynette. And that's, please tell me that's a typo with Truitt, unless it's Truitt. I don't know. Truitt rushed for 43 yards on 3 carries and scored 2 touchdowns. He added 10 receiving yards and a 91-yard punt return for a touchdown in the 28-7 win over Valley.
The River Region Player of the Week, presented by Lee Marketing Group, is Cam Taylor from Park Crossing. He accounted for 238 total yards and 6 touchdowns in the Thunderbirds' 53-20 win over Jeff Davis. Thunderbirds.
The Lyman Ward Military Academy AISA Player of the Week is O.J. Tolbert from Springwood. Tolbert, a freshman, rushed 9 times for 131 yards and 3 touchdowns and added 9 tackles on defense in a 48-14 win over Kingwood Christian.
Concrete presents the Talladega County Player of the Week. That would be Earl Wells from Lincoln. The quarterback threw for 1 touchdown and rushed for another. Unfortunately, the Golden Bears' upset bid of Leeds came up short, 38-27.
And finally, but maybe most importantly, the Russell Building Supply Russell Do-It Center AHSA Radio Network Player of the Week is Jake Pratt from Vestavia Hills. And I know everybody saw this story by now. Unless you have absolutely no access to social media or television or telephones or anything, you saw this story, and it was absolutely incredible. Vestavia Hills senior Jake Pratt had never dressed for a football game until Friday night, and he scored a touchdown on his first play. A senior with Down syndrome, Pratt raced around left end for a long touchdown run on the last play of the game. His run and the celebration that ensued immediately went viral and was even played on SportsCenter the following morning. And in fact, while you were doing your interview just a moment ago with the play-by-play voice of Georgia Southern, SportsCenter actually retweeted it again. I mean, it's gotten so much traction, it's unbelievable. And, you know, it's one of those things where we've seen it before. And I want to say Nebraska started it years ago. That's the first time I saw it. It doesn't make it any less special. I mean, it was amazing to see the reaction of the fans, to see the camera start to shake as the stadium was shaking while he was running. Just an incredible moment, and kudos to both teams and both coaches and both fan bases for allowing that to happen, for dreaming up the idea for this to happen. Just an incredible moment. Something.
Was this a game that counted?
It is a game that counted, and it was a moment that counted. More importantly, so no doubt about it. It was terrific. I saw. I mean, you know, like you said. I mean, if you have Facebook, you saw it about 30 times. There's no doubt
because
about
everybody retweeted it. It's pretty
and
great.
if you do have Facebook and somehow you have missed it, you can go to the Sportz Blitz live Facebook page or MySpace page. Yeah. I think we still have a MySpace page.
Really?
No, we don't. No. Never had one. But we have a Facebook page, and you can go check it out. I know the video's up there.
Absolutely. You can check out Auburn Blitz, too, while you're there. Up against the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Sportz Blitz Live right after this.
So you want to build a home? Build the home you want with America's Home Place. Choose from over 150 floor plans, then personalize. Tile backsplash with granite countertops? Done. A spacious bathroom you've always dreamed of? You got it. Choose every detail, floors, cabinets, even the paint color.
How about electric lime?
Can't decide? Relax. At America's Home Place, we take care of it all. It's your home. Own it. America's Home Place.
Now is the best time to see the good guys the locals know, Alex City Marine. With last year being our best year yet, Landau Pontoons has increased Alex City Marine's allocation of Landaus for the 17th season. Our Suzuki outboard selections are at an all-time high. Alex City Marine is now also Lake Martin's exclusive Manitou pontoon dealer with a full line of the luxurious Manitou Tri-Tune with patented V-Tune technology for top performance. Get the best selection now of Landau and Manitou pontoons. Alex City Marine, Lake Martin.
Whether it's a dream house or corporate real estate, Concrete has the skill, expertise, and talent to exceed your expectations. Trust Concrete to build a foundation for your future. Our work ethic and dedication are always in keeping the competition on their toes. We specialize in residential and commercial development in the Coosa, Talladega, and Shelby County areas. Call us today for your next project, 256-245-4211, or check us out on the web at con-crete.com.
There is a strength inside you, unknown and imperfect, waiting. And when you think you have nothing left to give, when each obstacle in your path is more formidable than the last, that's when you'll find it. And with that strength, your greatness will have no limits.
Summertime means savings ton during the summer clearance event at Bice Motors. Save over $8,200 on a great selection of loaded new 2017 Chrysler 200 Limiteds. Was $25,705, now $17,500. Need a truck? Bice has new 2017 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Express 4x2s for $299 a month.
Guaranteed lowest price, or we'll pay you the difference in price twice.
Don't miss the summer clearance event going on now. BiceChryslerDodge.com.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by A&M Plumbing. Service at its best when you need it most.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sportz Blitz Live. Want to thank Danny Reed for joining us, the voice of the Georgia Southern.
That may be more interesting. That would be a more interesting game.
That might be. He's a rising star.
He is a rising star. You've said that multiple times. But I think if Golden State played Auburn this weekend, no pads, just showed up in their uniforms, it would be a better game than Georgia Southern Auburn this weekend.
I don't know. We were talking beforehand. I said maybe the weather will hold out. And that's actually my first question, true or false? Bad weather will benefit Georgia Southern.
That's so false. The weather's not going to have anything to do with this. Auburn's a lot better team than Georgia Southern. And everybody says, oh, well, they snuck up on Florida. You know, they didn't really sneak up on Florida. That Florida team just wasn't very good.
That's true. I did see, though, like they've played, I think, 10 or 11 ACC and SEC teams over the last 10 or 12 years. And I don't think any game the point spread has been more than like 12 or 15 points.
Okay.
I mean, they you know,
look,
they're good at keeping it close.
Look, you're not going to get an argument from me that they shouldn't be playing this game, blah, blah, blah. Of course Auburn should be playing this game, and of course Georgia Southern should be playing this game. Just like Auburn and Alabama should both be playing Mercer. You got to take some weeks off. You can't, every week can't be a marquee matchup, okay? Some games you got to have so that both teams can make some money and the powerhouse team gets a bit of a breather. So I'm cool with Auburn playing this game. I'm not making fun of Auburn for playing Georgia Southern any more than I'm going to make fun of Alabama for playing Mercer. That's fine. I get it. But don't try to convince me that Georgia, I don't care if it's rain, sleet, or snow, or sunshine, Auburn is blowing this crew out.
I would hope you're right. True or false? Auburn will cover the spread. It's 34.
Okay, that may be a little bit more difficult. And that may be more weather dependent. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say Auburn's going to cover, if only because I think this will be one of those Auburn really wants to make a statement kind of games.
That's what I said today. We were talking about this on the Auburn Blitz, 12-1 on Facebook Live. That I think Auburn wants to come out and if weather permitting, if it's not a deluge or if it's not just constant rain the whole time, that they want to come out and you want to knock some rust off Jarrett Stidham. You want to let him open it up. I don't think they're going to hold much back. I mean, I would think that they want him as confident and, as good as he can be heading to Death Valley to play Clemson. So I would not be surprised at all to see him throw the ball 30, 35 times.
I agree. I just think in the end Auburn's just that much better than they are. I mean, this is a pretty good Auburn team. I mean, I keep hearing that it's the best collection of talent they ever had. I don't believe that, but I do believe it's a very good team. And Georgia Southern's going to be starting a freshman quarterback.
Redshirt freshman.
And good luck. His name is Shai Wertz.
Shai Wertz.
That sounds like a jumble. Like I'm supposed to take those letters and mix them around and come up with one word.
Fill in the blank. I will consider the game. Well, see, I thought Randy was going to be here. I will consider the game a success if Auburn blank.
If Auburn loses. But I will say if I were an Auburn fan, I would consider this a success if Auburn wins by 24 or more. You don't have to cover the spread. I mean, that doesn't mean because Auburn doesn't cover, it doesn't mean Auburn's not any good. I mean, that's not the way this works. Georgia Southern is not necessarily a great program, but they are better than they're better than Mercer. So, I mean, if you beat them by 24, I'd feel pretty strongly about it.
I like that. again, pretend you're Randy Lee or Brett Pritchard. The position group that I'm the most concerned about heading into the season is blank.
If I'm Auburn, I don't care that Gus Malzahn said his punter. I believe his defensive line. Marlon Davidson's been a little banged up. Tell me where the depth is on the defensive line. It's just not there. I think the linebacking core is solid, not necessarily spectacular, but I think they're very strong. I mean, Deshaun Davis just makes tackles. Trey Williams makes tackles. I feel like that's a pretty strong group, and I feel like the secondary. I love Carlton Davis. I think he's a very good player, and I think he's lanky and long and can bat passes away. He's got a nose for the ball. Safety-wise, I don't know necessarily how strong Auburn's going to be, but it's defensive line for me far and away.
I would not disagree. You look at the production of those guys. Two guys that really have to step up for Auburn. I mentioned again this today, Jeff Holland and Dontavius Russell. Dontavius Russell had a really good freshman year, or redshirt freshman year. He did not have a very good year last year. Only 29 tackles. He didn't have a single tackle behind the line of scrimmage. That's got to change. He has to step up and be the guy he was, and even better than he was as a freshman. Jeff Holland, he's taken over for Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson didn't have a great career at Auburn, but he did have a good senior year. That's about 16, 17 tackles for loss that you were losing. Jeff Holland's got like 20-something tackles in his career. Mm-hmm. He's got to step up. He's got to be. They say he's taking the next step. We'll see.
This is why I'm so ready for football season to start. Name a player on a team who some beat writer hadn't said has taken the next step.
Yeah.
So far, and I'm talking about, this isn't an Auburn thing. This isn't a uniquely Auburn thing. This is for everybody. Everybody's taking the next step. And it's never, okay, and if somebody hadn't taken the next step, it's because the guy behind them is taking the next step. It's never like, okay, we got a problem here.
Yeah, that's true. I think we got a phone call. Let's go to the phone line.
Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Brett, guys. What's up?
Hey, Brett.
Hey, you were talking about the next step, Luke. They got inundated with listening to New Kids on the Block back in the day. All beat writers got overdosed by New Kids on the Block, and, step by step.
Or Bobby Brown, every little step you take.
Every little step. Well, we can keep going with this thing if you want to. We get.
I just
get
hope we
caught up
hang
on that
tough.
kind of stuff. We'll shift gears, but it is. It's the time that we've all been waiting for. Obviously, this week football starts. It doesn't matter if you're playing Florida State or Georgia Southern. You're ready to see your team play. Obviously, high expectations for Alabama once again. Some high expectations for Auburn based on potential. Now, we haven't seen what a lot of these guys can do because it's based on what their potential is. And Andy and I talked about that on the Auburn Blitz today. And, you won't know until these guys get out on the field. And you got a guy in Jarrett Stidham that supposedly can get them the football. So Auburn could be dangerous in the receiving corps. And I know you guys have talked about all that stuff. But the rubber hits the road on Saturday night, 6:30. Hope the weather will be good so we can see what Auburn really has offensively, because I think you'll be able to get a good display of that.
They think Jarrett Stidham's taking the next step.
He is. He's taking the next couple of steps.
Step by step.
What's funny, Brett, is this type of year is so much fun. I've been listening to shows nationally and locally, and everybody is calling in. Northwestern fans are calling in going, I see this as our year, and Nebraska fans are calling in, and UCLA fans, and Texas A&M fans. And here's the thing. After Saturday, 50% of the teams are going to have a loss. I mean, that's just the way it works. And all of a sudden, those 50% are going to be crestfallen.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly. You'll start hearing I guess we'll just have to wait till next year.
Yeah.
I mean, already out of the gate. Auburn, unfortunately, has had their fair share of blunders in week one in the past 15, 20 years. But we've also had some really, really big successes. Since Nick Saban's been at Alabama, it seems like every time they play a top 10 opponent to open up the season or a highly touted opponent, Nick Saban handles them pretty easily, and he handles them by more than 10 points. I think they average winning by 11 points or more against the teams they've opened up with since he's been there. So I don't really see it being any different on Saturday. Now, I think Florida State's very talented. I think Jalen Hurts will be better for Alabama, Luke, and I think that at the end of the day, the strength training and the conditioning of Alabama will win out over Florida State, because I just cannot get out of the back of my mind what Ole Miss was able to do to Florida State last year in that opener and almost win that game. Ole Miss was the team that really, I guess for lack of better terms, messed away the second half in 4 or 5 games last year, one being the Alabama game. I'm going to add that one in there. But Florida State doesn't really start off well. You can go back and look at their history. They struggle out of the gate. Alabama's opposite of that. Alabama actually starts off really strong a lot of times and is really, really good out of the gate. So I don't think that fares well. And if you look at Florida State's record in the past as far as opening up with top-ranked teams, I think, or opening up with teams in the top 10, their record's not very good. I saw that stat last night on a talk show, and I just can't remember what exactly it was, but I think they'd won 1 game against an AP-ranked top 1 or 2 team, and that was back in 1996 against Florida. So I really like Alabama in this game. I know a lot of the Auburn fans out there are saying, well, you just play into the easy card, but I really do think Alabama will come out, and it'll be a good game, and I think it'll be a good game to the end, but I think Alabama will win by 10 or more.
Well, Brett, we were running down some questions. Luke and I, he was playing you on TV, so we'll let you just play yourself this go around. Over under 250 yards passing for Jarrett Stidham.
Again, I hate to use a bunch of what ifs. I'll say if it's really good weather, and I think if Auburn comes out and wants to really not hold anything back, which I don't know why they would, I think Jarrett Stidham could definitely reach that 250-yard passing mark, and probably could do it within 3 quarters. I'm gonna say
150 yards rushing given up by the Auburn defense, over under.
Georgia Southern's a predominantly running team. They're gonna stay in there and pound away. I think probably Georgia Southern could pound out 150 yards at the end of the game. If you break that up over 4 quarters, that's not a ton of rushing yards, and I think that'll be a majority of what their total yards are. So I'm going to say under 150, but just barely.
Boy, I hope so, because if we go up, if we give up 20 points and 180 yards rushing,
you don't necessarily
we still win the game by 20 points, but I think,
well, you don't necessarily have to give up the points. You can give up rushing yards, especially if Georgia Southern runs 55, 60 plays, and let's say 40 of them are rushes, 45 of them are rushes. Yeah, they could rush for 150 yards, but their total offense may be under 200. So you got a freshman quarterback playing for them. I could see them getting 150 yards rushing, but having under 200 total yards of offense.
Maybe that'll be the case, Brett. We appreciate it. Thank you for calling in, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. Up against another break here, but don't go anywhere. More Sports Blitz Live is on the way right after this.
Hi, this is Quinn Harrelson with Interlink Mortgage in Auburn, Alabama. There are 1,000 different questions people ask me every day about mortgage loans. They ask about buying investment homes, primary homes, and even second homes at the lake or the beach. I only have a limited time to say, call me and let's talk about what you want and how I can help you get it. Again, win with Quinn and call me today at 256-675-6259 so I can help structure a mortgage that best fits you and your family's needs.
Your comfort is our #1 concern. Advanced Heat and Air.
Advanced Heating and Air makes your comfort their priority for any season. Advanced Heating and Air is the region's Trane dealer and an Alabama Power Superior Solutions dealer that can save you money and energy with a new electric heat pump. Advanced Heating and Air maintains the region's best service team, so rely on us to make your comfort our #1 concern. Call 234-5052, and we're there for you.
Show Enough Barbecue. Since 1990, we've been serving you the finest barbecue in Alexander City. Gerald believes in cooking fresh meat daily, and the secret to that is, I'm not going to tell you. Shonuff is just not about barbecue, but also known for fresh vegetables and homemade pies. That's where I come in. I'm Linda Sanford, better known as the Pie Lady. We also do catering. For more information, give us a call at 234-7675.
Hello, I'm Harvey B. Campbell Jr., the manager and founding partner of Alabama Consumer Law, LLC. We are a law firm dedicated to helping you, the consumer, from all kind of debt issues. We can handle Chapter 13s, Chapter 7s, and Chapter 12s, and Chapter 11s if you need help.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers. We are a debt relief agency. We are a private company. We are not associated with any state or federal government agency.
Gotta get to Gills Auto Sales. We can finance, you got to get to Gills. Selection and price, got to get to Gills. Gotta get to Gills. Cars that fit your budget. Service that no one around can beat. Stop by today and test drive the vehicle of your dreams. Gotta get to Gills Auto Sales. We can finance you. Gotta get to Gills. Selection and price. Gotta get to Gills. Gotta get to Gills.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Peaches and Clean, caring for your floors and a whole lot more in East Central Alabama.
Welcome back to everyone to Sportz Blitz Live. Just a couple of more segments in tonight's program. The SEC getting underway, of course, this weekend. A lot of games on schedule. I know you and Brett kind of talked about these a little bit on Saturday. We'll talk about them a little bit more tonight and probably a little bit more this Saturday as we preview those games.
And then next Tuesday we'll even
talk about who won those games. That's kind of what we do. We talk about sport.
I don't think you have to explain that every time.
Okay.
It should be self-explanatory.
Mental note. Some of these are good games. Some of these are not very good games. Some of these, they hope, are not very good games. Florida A&M at Arkansas.
That falls under the not a very good game category. Not a good game
for
a couple of reasons.
They hope it's not.
Yeah.
This one in Little Rock, too, not Fayetteville. Ooh.
I mean,
War
this is
Memorial.
one of those, I think Brett Bielema does need to come out and just pound it home. I mean,
they better make a statement.
Yeah, this can't be a squeaker. No. You got to go take care of business.
That's the Rattlers? The Florida A&M Rattlers?
Yeah, I believe that's correct,
okay.
Yes.
Missouri State at Missouri, border war.
There is a 0.00% chance I will watch 1 second of this game. And people can say, it's football. This really isn't
Why
football.
are you down on Missouri State?
I'm down on Missouri, and I'm just telling you, things are so bad over there right now. It just seems like I was wrong. Tennessee's not going to be the worst team in the East. I think Missouri's going to be. They're losing starters. They're guys that are sitting out. And not to mention all the social unrest that has just made it so it's impossible for them to even give tickets away. I mean, they've had like these ticket packages that are just absurdly low priced. I mean, it's bad in Missouri. Look, aside from the fact that they're in the East and they're the westernmost team I think we have, this whole Missouri thing has just been a mistake.
A debacle.
It's been a debacle. And I don't know what to do.
Can we trade them?
For whom?
I don't. Clemson? Florida State?
I'd take them for Clemson. Would be great. Clemson or Florida State would be great, but I think that's not going to happen.
No.
And Clemson and Florida State, why would they do it? They're kicking as much chicken as they can in the ACC, and people think the ACC is the best conference. I mean, we're kind of stuck with Missouri, and that's a bad thing.
PSA for Missouri.
I know, and look, I know we just lost all our Missouri viewers, and I'm sorry, but I mean this.
Well, the three of those will have to get by their own.
This has been a catastrophe.
NC State versus South Carolina. You and I have been talking about this game.
Love it.
You really been pumping this one up. I even put this one sneak peek for the column tomorrow. 5 underrated games this Saturday. This one being at the top.
I'm assuming Missouri State, Missouri wasn't one of them.
It was not on there, but to believe it or not.
It's correctly rated. However bad you have that game rated, it's correctly rated. NC State, South Carolina, though, is going to be fun. NC State's defensive line's pretty strong, and
they went 6-5 or 7-6 last year.
I know, but they're stronger than you think.
Why does everybody think they're going to be so much
Because
better?
they have enough talent. They bringing back a lot of talent. The problem is they're in the same division as Louisville, Florida State, and Clemson. Yeah. So Cole Kubalik said they're going to be in the national championship playoffs. I don't believe that. I believe they beat one of Clemson, Louisville, Florida State, and I believe they beat South Carolina, unfortunately. I'm pulling for South Carolina. I'm going to be an SEC homer. I'm going to pull for South Carolina because I just think Jake Bentley is awesome. I really do. I think he's very, very strong, very good. If he were at Alabama or Auburn, I believe he'd be the starter there over Jarrett Stidham.
Oh, wow. Come on now.
Yeah. I don't even think there would be a Jarrett Stidham at Auburn if Jake Bentley were there.
Well, that might be true.
I think he'd be the starter over Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts.
He'd be the starter over Hurts.
I think so.
He's that good?
I'm that high on Jake Bentley.
Wow.
I like Jake Bentley a lot.
He may just be that high.
Yeah.
Number 11 versus number 17 Florida. That's of course a marquee.
It's not a shot.
That's
at
not
Jalen
even
Hurts,
worth talking about it.
Which one?
The Michigan, Florida.
It's getting to where it's not worth talking about. If Florida doesn't show up with enough players to play, they've suspended their 8th player.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is this?
I mean, again,
nobody knows.
It's a wide receiver.
Third stringer.
They're fresh out of wide receivers, though.
Well, that's not good. You kind of need those if you're going to throw the ball.
Well, not if you got 3 quarterbacks, maybe you don't need a wide receiver. They can all throw it to each other.
But the question is,
they won't name a starter.
What about the depth chart?
Yeah, they won't name a starter. So Michigan released a depth chart, which is like an old depth chart. It's not even depth chart that has no current players on it. This has gotten to be so reality TV, and I'm wondering eventually Harbaugh's going to have to win his division to match up with this shtick of I'm going to be silly and do podcasts and take the team to Italy, right? I mean, he's going to have to win his division and beat Ohio State to be taken real seriously, right?
At some point.
Okay, and I don't think it'd be this year. They lost 16, 17 starters.
Maybe that, I don't know.
But if he goes 3 years making $7 million or $8 million a year, whatever he's making, and he's doing all these other crazy things, and he hadn't won his division or beat Ohio State, why do we keep including him in the best coaches of the country category?
Well, he has put Michigan on the map.
Michigan was on the map.
Yeah, but
they were okay.
Rodriguez buried it.
They were taking.
And Brady Hoke he resurrected it for a year, and then he buried it again.
Well, he played. They played Alabama to open the season in Dallas.
I am aware.
Yeah,
and that was what buried it.
Yeah.
But he has come in, and all of a sudden, Michigan's a top 10 team. Say what you will, they hadn't beat Ohio State. That's true. They had them beat and let them off the hook. But I don't know. He has done.
Florida State in the bowl game.
He's done great. He did great at Stanford.
Lost to Iowa.
He took a team to the Super Bowl. I think he's really
the
good
Super Bowl
coach.
thing is as meaningless as Nick Saban going 7-9 at the Miami Dolphins.
What has San Francisco done without him?
Does it help Michigan?
All I'm saying is it proves that he's a good coach.
Okay. Look, I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but I'm saying to match up with his hype, he's going to have to win that division. Win the division.
Yeah. Kentucky Southern Miss, we both like that game. I think that's going to be a fun game. Southern Miss won last year.
Sneaky tough game for Kentucky. Tough. They can talk about the revenge.
Oh, they're not sneaky about it.
They've already lost 2 starters too to injury. That's a problem.
Charleston Southern, Mississippi State.
It's not sneaky anything.
App State, Georgia. App State gave Tennessee all they wanted last year. Georgia Southern at Auburn. Auburn should win. South Alabama at Ole Miss. I don't care how bad Ole Miss is. They should win that game.
Okay, they should win it. South Alabama beat Mississippi State last year.
They did.
And don't sleep on them. I'm just telling you, if this could be the shocker of the day. I'm not going to predict it, but I'm not going to be totally flabbergasted if it happens.
We spent an hour talking about Florida State, Alabama. Vandy at Middle Tennessee. Big game for Vandy.
It is.
Better go out there and win it.
We talked about this before. They got to win this game if they want to be in a bowl. I think they got to win this
BYU, game. LSU, that game's been moved to the Superdome now. So basically, yet another home game, LSU.
It did that. I don't think that matters much. I think they were going to win anyway because BYU looked bad against Portland State.
Yeah, they did. A&M at UCLA, that's an interesting one. Tennessee and Georgia Tech, that's an interesting one. I'm going to be, Labor Day game, I'm all about it.
I'm going to watch it, but I don't care how many running backs Georgia Tech has lost. I still think they win this game.
I think you're probably right. And that's the SEC slate. And we'll be back with one final segment of Sportz Blitz Live right after this.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
If you're seeing the American cockroach, throw up the red flag. Ladybugs, throw up the red flag. Ants and swarming termites, throw up the red flag. And kudzu bugs, throw up the red flag. That's Red Flag Pest Control. So the caution is on. Call Red Flag Pest Control today.
I'm Scott Davis with Red Flag Pest Control, celebrating our 10th anniversary. Call me today, 256-825-0430.
Hey, it's Steve from the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn, and after 10 years of serving the good people of East Alabama and West Georgia, we're still doing business the same way, offering the best products at the best prices with the area's best warranties and installing them with the area's best technicians. With great customer service, a knowledgeable sales staff, and our commitment to customer satisfaction, along with the best selection of the latest technology in the industry, there's no reason to shop anywhere else. Shop with confidence. Shop at the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn.
When you're born, you're really young. You're like 0 years old. My grandma tells me to quit growing up so fast. But what can I do about it? My mom keeps throwing me birthday parties.
Russell Medical, comprehensive care in your corner of the world.
Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is the Lake Martin area's complete automotive solution. At Walls, you'll find a dedicated staff offering top quality service from routine maintenance to a full engine overhaul and everything in between. Brian Walls and the folks at Walls Tire are local folks that you know, and they provide the best service always at a fair price. Find out what the rest of the Lake Martin area already knows. Walls Tire is the Lake Martin area's complete automotive solution. Just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Russell Do-It Center, offering a complete assortment of lumber, building materials, electrical, and plumbing supplies. Russell Do-It Center stores deliver first-class service, top-rate products, and competitive do-it-best pricing.
Wrapping things up here on Sportz Blitz Live, I think we'll do a little more or less. I haven't done this in a while. These might get a little, a little out there, but just go with me. More of a bonehead. Raekwon Davis possibly shooting his own self in the leg outside of a bar the week before the season starts, or Jim Harbaugh with this depth chart nonsense.
I don't know that Raekwon shot himself. I know that's one theory, but there were a lot of theories to the lost television show too. So I'm going to say the depth chart thing because I'm also sick of it. I mean, just put your depth chart out, man.
It doesn't really mean anything, does it? I don't know.
Okay, just put it out. We're going to see it anyway.
Yeah.
And it always bothered, like all these coaches, they were talking about this with Gus Malzahn today about how sometimes he's not the most forthcoming with the media members and Jim Harbaugh not putting the right depth chart out. And, sometimes they just get along with the media. Well, here's the thing. Do you know why football is so popular? One of the reasons is because the media hypes it all up and writes about it and talks about it. So why do you think you're making all this money? Because we're sitting here talking about the sport. We're not directly related to Jim Harbaugh's huge contract, but in a roundabout way, the media as a whole is at least partially responsible for the big numbers.
And I read that Michigan at one point is going to wear all maize.
They're stealing a West Virginia look.
That needs to be the bonehead of the week.
There's no question.
And
Florida's doing it all blue, I think.
Oh, good grief. Less likely occurrence. Well, again, this was supposed to be Randy. Cheering for Alabama against FSU or watching the remake of It?
Watching the remake, let me tell you something. I have a fear of clowns, or I did when I was a kid, and I ain't watching it. Just ain't happening.
Have you seen the trailer?
The trailer's
You know,
pretty
the kid
spooky.
walks by and he goes, "Hey kid, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Good. And then he gets
Spooky.
that smile. Oh,
it's creepy.
It's Creep City, brother. Oh, more awesome. Now I started to go. I thought about this. I may change it. We'll start with the first one, but I may alter it. More awesome Duke boy, Bo or Luke?
Oh, look. Even though my name is Luke, I was more of a Bo fan.
Really?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, Luke turned out to be a cokehead, so but still, everybody's got their problems.
Tom Wopat, I remember it like it was yesterday. But I just thought John Schneider always looked younger and cooler.
He always got to drive too.
He did get to
But
drive.
I did like Luke because he always came up with a plan.
Yeah, Bo wasn't the smarter of the
No, he
two.
was an idiot. There's no question. Better, more awesome Duke boys, Bo and Luke, or Christian Slater. What am I saying? Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner.
Oh, Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner.
Oh, come on.
Much better Duke boys.
I love Duke, but there's nothing more awesome than
There's a lot more awesome than that. As my grandfather
riding
used to-
around in the General Lee on a country road. Come on.
It's first of all, the General Lee's not even. ESPN wouldn't even have the General Lee on anymore.
This is true.
So the Duke boys.
Less
Bobby
tasty treat, chocolate chip cookie, a classic, or Oreo.
Less tasty?
Less tasty.
Where do I get the chocolate chip cookie from? Is it like just a
Soft
chips of Oreo?
batch.
The old school soft batch that you got? I'm still going Oreo.
Really?
Like a homemade chocolate chip cookie, like one of those kind of chocolate chip cookies you get from the DoubleTree when you check in. Those are pretty strong. But Oreo is just awesome.
Quickly, one last one. Less appropriate PG movie, Jaws or The Bad News Bears?
Oh, less appropriate is Jaws because it messed up a whole generation of people going in the ocean.
PG.
Yeah.
Just
That's crazy that movie is PG.
The Quint scene alone.
It's still my favorite movie of all time. My favorite movie of all time.
Mine too. And I'm astounded more and more about our
similarities. So close yet so far apart.
This is true. We appreciate you so much for joining us this evening. Don't forget the Auburn Blitz tomorrow from 12 to 1 on Facebook Live. Just check out the Sportz Blitz Facebook page. Luke, you on Saturday?
I will be on Saturday.
Maybe
you can plug. You
Scoreboard
have spent
Friday.
more time plugging your Auburn Blitz show on this show than you have been on this
Scoreboard show Friday night.
Scoreboard show Friday night.
So Saturday Sports Countdown Saturday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on this station. Wow, we've got a lot to do. For Luke Robinson, I'm Andy Graham. So on for now. We'll talk again soon.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
The door's open, the beer's cold, and the biscuits are hot at Foshee Sportz on Dable Road in Alexander City. Fishing season is in year-round and live bait is available. Non-ethanol gas is available along with propane and pellet ice. So come on by and see what we're all about, where the kitchen is open Monday through Friday early at Foshee Sportz on Dable Road in Alexander City. And tell them old Katie sent you right here from the front porch, WAXC TV.
Lake Area Realty is Lake Martin's Century 21 real estate company that proudly serves all the Lake Martin area. Rhonda Gaskin and her staff of caring professional realtors offers full sales for buyers and sellers in the area and can even help you with finding rentals or managing your current property. Whether it's your dream lake home, waterfront property, area family home in town, or just a starter home, Lake Area Realty can handle it all and advise you on all your needs. Buying and selling real estate is important to the professionals at Century 21. Lake Area Realty are your friends in real estate. Call or visit lakearearealty.net.
If you had $6,000, how would you spend it?
I'd pay bills.
How about a new car?
Vacation!
At Hyundai of Auburn today, you can get the new car and do the other things.
What? How?
Pick out your dream car and drive away with as much as $6,000 to spend however you'd like.
America's best warranty and $6,000?
Luxury and $6,000.
Be thinking how to spend your $6,000. HyundaiofAuburn.com.
Vacation.